So chill. All right. Comments. Let me check if the live link has actually worked. Oh, please work. Please work. Please work. I'm scared.
It says
sure it's all
live.
good.
It says live on the top left.
I feel like we're
I'm also
recording
checking on my
you.
phone too. Usually the phone is like a minute behind comparing to the actual live. Okay, one person chime in. I think it's YouTube.
Hello. Oh, yay.
let
Okay.
me- Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me just present it. Okay. And we're back to 0. This is so fun. Oh my god. Oh, is the live link okay? Oh my god, don't tell me that we only live on YouTube. This is gonna be so sad.
Esther, how are you doing the background?
Oh, I went into the camera setting, the button. There's like a little arrow, and that helps you.
I didn't notice that. That's crazy.
I don't see a settings, but it's okay.
I think the settings
Oh,
just don't like us. That's the thing.
No, there's a, how like you can turn your camera off?
Yeah.
So right next to it, there's an arrow.
Yeah.
It's pointing up.
Yeah.
It doesn't show for you?
No.
No, you're clicking on the little icon that looks like a screenshot or like a taking as if it's going to take a picture of you.
Yeah, I think
it
it's
doesn't
because I'm on my iPad.
Oh, you're on your iPad.
Okay.
Yes.
We're having 3 audience right now. Good,
Awesome.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. It's increasing slowly. We're gonna try to aim it for this to be a very high quality AMA podcast style thing. And you guys can always rewatch if you missed the live. So we're gonna take maybe 4 or 5 minutes for people to chime in. I'll move on to the next slide in a bit. Okay, this is giving me hope, people. I host a lot of roast and resume kind of thing, but having an AMA is a different level of stress because you actually have to provide something substantial than just looking at people's stuff,
Yeah. There's definitely more to touch on, but I'm sure we'll get some fun questions from everyone. So
yeah, Esther, go. Yeah. Okay. Hi, everyone. So this is a formal welcome to our second AMA episode of the Cohort 20 Retro. We just concluded our 10 weeks advanced internship program for the Cohort 20 season. Literally, I think, is it 2 weeks ago?
And kind of, yeah. Except my team, we're still working on something this week, but yeah.
TMI. Your team's still working. Yeah, that's the reality of working on team projects is and real companies too. It's never ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna take a second. You can grab your favorite snacks, whatever, and do your own thing. We're just gonna have a casual conversation here. Yeah. We have 5 people. That's fun. Okay. I feel at least the archive will be helpful to a lot of designers looking to improve their Figma skill. And I think I have brought up 2 Figma Beast on here from the team. Apparently, Santiago can testify that they can literally sit down and create a prototype for hours without getting bored or burned out. And Esther, I have co-worked with Esther before, and Esther literally was one of the more very engaged ION member who I see in co-working office a lot.
Yeah, it was fun. I think that's actually what made my experience so much better, being in the location where the physical office was. I mean, I took a train ride, but it was really convenient to get there and just being able to interact with the founders and the engineer. It's they have 4 team members, but one of them is I think in Bangalore. But yeah, it was definitely nice to have those co-working sessions and like meet the rest of the co-create folks too, not just like the Ion team members.
Oh yeah. Okay, I think we can get started in like a minute. Yeah, let's not waste too much time because this thing gonna be archived, and I have some excited announcement to make. Per demo day for cohort 20 and how we're gonna launch cohort 21. Yeah, I think if you're like in SF or like around the Bay Area, you should definitely come doing Tech Week because we're gonna be kind of premiering Tech Week with our events. So it's gonna be fun.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Okay. I think let's just get started, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let me scroll through the slide. So, hi everyone. Agenda. If you actually is extrovert and want to share about your life, we're gonna have a mini icebreaker question in the chat. Then you're gonna meet us. We're gonna introduce ourselves a little bit, and then we're gonna have a really fruitful, juicy, yummy knowledge share on how to improve your Figma skill. And if you have any question, feel free to drop it in the chat for Q&A time. But not sure if we can get to your questions because I have a lot for them to share as well. So recording is available on YouTube for those who cannot make it to the live session today. Okay, so if you want to drop in the chat, it's okay if you're shy. Your location, where you're tuning in from on these Thursday afternoon, evening, and how long have you been doing UX or product design for? So I think we can do like a one-liner or two of like how long we have been designing for. So I can go first. I did started with design in like 2022. That's when I started from like a more research background doing autonomous vehicle, kind of like research into accessibility and how to design for the driving experience. So yeah, that's how I kind of get to know UX a bit, but I started out with like website design and more like vehicle interfaces. So that's been how many years? Like 3 years? Yeah. How about you guys? I'll popcorn to someone. Okay, whoever take it first.
I can go. I did not know that you were working on autonomous vehicles, by the way. That's pretty fun. So that's like a fun fact that I just learned about you during this live stream, and I've seen you many times before. So
Uh,
my that's great, man.
uh,
My background was, I guess I started in 2020, like end of 2020. I had previously been working at WeWork. I had done like a few different things, and I somehow just like came across like UX design, and then decided to do a boot camp. It's been a long journey to get to design. I have since then finished my boot camp. I also started working at Meta, but like design programs, like more like operational work and working with uh, like product designers, UX researchers, content designers, and engineers, and focused a lot on like internal tools like design systems.
wait, Esther. We were gonna
Yeah,
have the same question again, but this is like how many years have you been doing design? How long
got
have
it,
you been
got
doing
it, got
design
it.
for? Yeah,
I've been doing design since 2020. Sorry, everyone. We'll hold that for later.
okay, that's
I was just
fun.
going to give you my whole life story at this point.
Oh my God, who's at WeWork right now?
Oh, Marwin. Yay. Are you like a member? You can write it in the chat, but are you a member or are you like an employee at WeWork? That's cool.
Okay, so since 2020, that's when you started designing. So that's like say
Yeah,
5 years already.
about
Damn.
5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been fun. Lots of stuff going on since then, but lots of changes too with like Figma itself. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, Santiago, it's your turn.
Yeah. I'm based in the Bay Area. I'm 1 hour away from San Francisco, in a small town called Brentwood. I've been doing UX and product design for about a year, so I'm a baby designer. I transitioned about a year ago from software development, and I had a passion for software development, but I realized I was lacking the design aspect of it, and so got really into design, took some courses at my college, and really just fell in love with it. And I'm here now and decided to do a boot camp. Great boot camp, loved it so much. and yeah, fell in love with Figma, all of it, loved it so
Hey,
much, and yeah, so now I'm here.
a lot of love.
Wow.
Marwin say I'm a member for over a year at WeWork and love it.
Oh,
Okay.
I loved, yeah, all the members, always so great.
Do you guys have like go to a co-working space or just work like say from home or a cafe or just a library?
Like generally, like if we're working like full time or like working
No,
on design stuff.
I'm saying like usually people pay for membership to be at co-working spaces. So
Yeah,
what if you like do you guys do that?
I like to go to coffee shops. I
Mm,
think I like to. I do camp out at coffee shops. I'm guilty of
hey,
that, but yeah, I'll go to a coffee shop and co-work from there.
I see.
Yeah. What about you, Santiago?
I am actually the opposite. I do not like coffee shops. I cannot focus. There's too
Um,
much going on. I'm a person that needs to be in like a closed room with almost no distractions. Like if you look at the wall behind me, there's nothing on it. I need like very blank canvas. I just get very distracted by things easily. So just being in an enclosed space with minimal distractions is how I best work. So yeah.
okay. All right. So okay, I think we passed this question. Oh shit.
Man,
Ah,
I know that you
maybe.
co-work. I know that you go to coffee chat shops for sure.
The thing is that okay, the reason why I go to coffee shop is because my sublease apartment used to have no sunlight at all, and I need sunlight. And now I actually work
Oh,
from home a lot more than anything.
oh,
So
okay, okay. So you no longer do like the coffee shop
yeah,
co-working.
honestly, the coffee shop thing is like a chance to like hang out with people.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a distraction, I would
It
say.
is. Sometimes with co-working, we don't, no work is done.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God. Okay, we can like introduce ourselves very briefly. I can go ahead
Yeah.
and go first. So, hi everyone, I'm Min, and I'm currently a full-time content lead at Co-Create. Design Buddies is a part of Co-Create, and basically Co-Create you think as an umbrella, and then Design Buddies and UX Go are our in-house brand. So, we work together, bring fun events to SF, and also host like online design education and also AMAs. So that's like a TLDR of us. And I used to work as a cohort 19 member for SoulSci AI, which is an AI tool for medical scribe for mental health clinicians. So yeah, next is Santiago.
Yep. Hey, hello everybody. My name is Santiago. I am a product design intern at MyWorker AI, and MyWorker AI is a B2B SaaS AI company that it helps startup founders with lead generation. And I am a cohort 20 alumni, and I've had some prior experience with mainly B2B products and for nonprofits. And that's a little bit about me. You can look me up on LinkedIn. Let's connect. Happy to meet new people.
Yeah, ditto on the LinkedIn Connect. I'll go ahead. Yeah, I'm Esther. I'm a design intern right now with Ion Design. It's a YC company. So right now that tool focuses, it's like a prompt to code tool. So you can kind of think of it as like a vibe coding tool. But the difference here is that you have a design panel that you can use to make like element specific edits. So it just kind of makes the process a little bit more efficient if you wanted to launch a website. So yeah, it's been really fun to be a part of cohort 20 and like get to engage with everyone.
Yep. And in a moment, you're gonna see Santiago and Esther share their like workspace and basically their Figma cracked journey type shit. So we're gonna see. Okay, I don't know what's this next slide's gonna be. Okay, this is the announcement I really want to make. So if you are a honestly Design Buddies member and a designer, of course, a founder or an investor. A VC member, we are having Co-Create Summit or a Cohort 20 demo day link live right now on Luma. And basically, this is a chance for you to like network with a lot of designers during the start of Tech Week. If you come to SF for like, I would say that's like the first or the first week of October. So we're gonna have our venue at Dovetail, and you're gonna like meet a lot of sponsors on our end, and our students and our cohort members of cohort 21 will be presenting their products and the design journey. So if you're someone who's looking for a real experience or want to see how it's actually look like working for a startup, then definitely come through and meet our team. So it's on Luma Design. So go ahead and subscribe to that. And also, there's going to be a live link for anyone who cannot, like virtual link for anyone who cannot come in person. But you're not going to be able to like enjoy the actual part of like in real life designers. So just keep that in mind. Okay, we can move into like the elephant of the room. Oh, this one, let's skip it. But grab a drink, grab a coffee. We're gonna have this like a mini podcast, sit down time, like a casual coffee chat with some designers. So no stress, it's gonna be pretty fun. And this is for like Santiago and Esther as well. Okay, so question one on this panel is that why do you guys choose design and what was your journey look like? You guys can think a bit before you answer.
I can go. I chose design because I kind of just came, it just kind of came about. It wasn't necessarily something that I was like looking for. Um, oh, Tennessee. Sorry, I just got distracted by the chat. But yeah, I think the reason why I gravitated towards it is because I found myself I always had all these different ideas living in my head, and I wanted to see them come to life. And I found that the best way to do that was actually being able to design the thing. So when I started learning about Figma and actually designing on Figma, I was like, oh, like now everything that lives here is now like physically on the screen. And it's something that it's an idea that I can actually make come to life and like push out. So it really just like opened the doors for me. But my journey definitely hasn't been simple in getting to design. I think that what I mean by that is that first it took really deciding whether it's something that I really wanted to like focus on. Then going and doing the boot camp, which itself wasn't easy. It was definitely difficult to do that, and then also work 40 to like 60 hours a week plus do the boot camp. There were times when I was working from like 8 a.m. to like 6 p.m. for my full-time job, and then like 6 p.m. to like 3 or 4 in the morning just to finish up the boot camp. So it's been a very long journey. But I think sometimes with things that take a little bit longer to get to, it definitely ends up feeling much more rewarding. So it's been tough, but it's also been really fun finding something that you are passionate about and like can easily do and sit down and focus on, similar to what Santiago was saying earlier, where he can just sit down and prototype for hours and not get exhausted. I find myself when I am designing, I can just go in and then just take my time with it, whereas if I'm doing something else, it feels a little bit more like work. So yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, let's popcorn it over to Santiago.
I'm not gonna lie, that is pretty similar to my journey. It's been very, very hard but fun at the same time. I think within my journey, it's been for this past year, starting out in college. I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just thought, okay, I'm going to college, let's do it. Get my degree, I'll figure it out. And that's kind of exactly what I did. I just kind of dove right into coding and all that stuff, and I really liked it, but I knew I was kind of missing that sense of creativity, and I really wanted to be able to kind of I knew I wanted to make my applications and my software very accessible and very like not hard to use, very like simple, and I had actually come across UX design my freshman year, and I thought, that's a good consideration. Makes sense. But then I did some more research and found out that I had to present work, and at the time I was much more introverted than I was now, and I was like, yeah, that's not happening. So completely threw it out the window. And 2 years later, who would have thought, I'm here now. And within that, it was a lot of discovering who I was and what I was really passionate about, and knowing that I loved tech, but I also loved design. And so being able to mix those two along with a bit of psychology like in the background was really, really great. And so that's kind of why I chose design, because I knew of how much power it had and that how much impact that I could be able to provide for those in need, and just to make life a bit simpler for those in the digital world.
Yeah, going off of that, Santiago, you mentioned like helping people who are in need. I think when it comes to the type of products that I typically like to work on, it's like B2C. And I think I've, like, for example, I had intern at Shipped before. And what I really liked about it was that it helped people from my community. So I come from like a lower economic background. I'm like first gen, college grad, immigrant. And I think um, like Shipped is basically like Instacart, right? They're competitors, and I was really excited to help the people that were going and like getting the items from the grocery store and then delivering them, because I knew that at some point in my life that could have easily been my parents. So for me, it was like I was kind of giving back to the people that like raised me, basically, which is I mean, it's like maybe out of context that sounds weird, but like just like giving back to people from my community essentially. And I think that's kind of what design can help us do. Uh, so I do resonate with that piece, Santiago, that you brought up. And I'm kind of curious, do you feel like coding, because you mentioned that you have some sort of coding background, do you feel like that's helped you in your design career?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because I feel like, in my senior capstone class, actually, we had our senior project that we had to create from 0 to 1 to actually build it. And I, there were a lot of peers of mine that have actually had experience within actual companies, and they said how they hate working with designers because these designers would have such grand visions of how the design that they wanted it to look, and they always thought like, it's not feasible, it's too much time, it's not, we don't have the technology to build it yet, and all the animations take so much work. And so I think, especially within this new project that we did within my worker AI, um, having that background knowledge and having that developer mindset of knowing like, okay, this will not be feasible for the timeline and for like the technology that's out right now. So being able to communicate that with my team and like making sure that we're not designing to like blue sky and not too like, extravagant, to make sure that we're still fulfilling, the business needs, and also making sure that we're not putting so much extra work on the developers as well. So having that developer mindset has really helped me with my designs and just like my personal projects and professional experience. And so, yeah.
That's cool. It's interesting. I do agree with that, with the whole like understanding the technical feasibility. But I think after my experience with Ion, I also see how in a startup setting, things tend to move so quickly. And there's almost this like excitement around, yes, it does need to be technically feasible, right? So there were still discussions with the founder to understand whether something can be done, and then how long it would take to get that done. But there's this excitement around like also working on something that is new and hasn't been done before, and like trying to push it out as quickly. And I think maybe with startups, it's something that is maybe that's more reflective of a startup. And I think maybe there's more of a lean on, is this even possible? Is this even possible? Or how much time it's going to take? Is it going to take when you're like a larger like enterprise, or even like a medium to like large business type company? Um, so it's also interesting to see how like startups operate versus like maybe even like larger enterprise companies. But do you feel like with my worker AI, aside from mentioning the like consideration for technical feasibility, do you feel like they also were like really excited to just try something that your team was considering, because it seemed like, oh, that would like really be cool to kind of stand out in the market in some way?
Yeah, no, honestly, we found out within our research that there was a really big gap, because within our project, it hasn't really been done quite well. Like, there are specific, the product that we made was an AI avatar. and that's not really out right now, and it's not really done well. I mean, out in the
Mhm.
world, because there are some like Tavas and like different companies out there like that like have it, but it's not done quite well and to the extent where it's helpful and feasible for the users. And
Mhm.
so it was our approach was very extravagant, but our founder was so excited to see our final prototype. He literally was jumping up and down after he like looked at our prototype because we worked really hard and we really wanted to see what we could possibly do, and then um,
Mhm.
it was really great seeing the feedback from our founder, from our our target users,
Mhm.
and the specific like just like the people here within the cohort, like getting that feedback from them, like wow, like super cool prototype, great
Yeah.
walking through it, stuff like that. Um, it was so great to kind of just like not really have constraints, but then towards the end we did have some technical constraints and feasibility
Yeah.
issues, obviously, but that helps us then pivot to where we can kind of go into a different direction to help us on what we can do for now, like the first step
Yeah.
onto like
Yeah.
seeing then, tech evolving every millisecond, by the end of the year, maybe
Yeah.
we could possibly be able to implement this, and so hopefully, but so just being able to navigate all of that has really helped me in my new projects as well. So yeah, it's been a great experience with having to go through all of that. So
Hey, damn, +1. Okay, we're gonna move on to the second question. This one is a bit more technical and prototypey. So when was your first time using Figma, or I would say any like design tool on the market?
yeah, I think I can go first. Within my first time using Figma, I actually remember it vividly because I had looked at like how to like wireframe but more enhanced than just like using boxes and circles. I was like, how could I actually come to like have a more visually appealing wireframe before I actually, you know, build it? And I had looked up some tools, and the first one that popped up was Figma. I was like, oh, this looks cool. Walked through the onboarding, and I was like, oh, this seems like very promising. And I was able to make my first home screen, and it was so ugly, but like being able to like see that I can create something from scratch into something in just like minutes or even like an hour or so, like making an actual homepage was just so cool. And I was like, wow, like the sky's the limit here. Like you can design all these different things. And I was like, wow. And just looking at like, YouTube videos of like what people have like designed and like, not even just websites, but like stuff on your Apple Watch, through glasses. Like it was just so inspiring.
Yeah.
And I dove all the way in, and it was just, yeah, sky's the limit. It's amazing.
Mm.
Yeah. My first time using Figma was like end of 2020. It was for my boot camp. I feel like now I can definitely see like the difference in like how quickly I can go about like creating a design. I think now I'm also more resourceful. There's a lot of obviously like documents or like Figma files that people have created that are available on Figma like openly that you can grab from, and I think that's the best way to go about it when you're going from like low to like mid-fi, when something is like a design isn't fully solidified, just like grabbing from an existing design system and using that to just kind of share a potential idea. And then obviously once you get to hi-fi, you kind of edit based on the the type of product that you're working on and like their design system, like their specific color palette and such. But um, yeah, Figma, I think it definitely has a lot more like capabilities now that have made things a little bit easier, especially in like the design system space. But I think it's always like a there's always like a learning opportunity. Like I think like just I wouldn't say Figma is moving as quickly as like AI is, but it's definitely moving quick. Like they're definitely making a lot of changes. Um, yeah. And then again, going back to what Santiago mentioned, like it's nice to see that what you can create on that platform is something that can be used on all different types of devices. And you specifically mentioned glasses, right? There's, I think, at some point there's like a big emphasis on like VR, and I do see like AR glasses popping up, and there is a lot of opportunity there. I took an AR VR for UX design course last year
Ooh.
with this company, with this like online company, and basically they have like live sessions, and I got to take a class with like a senior like mixed reality designer from Autodesk, and it there's a lot that it still kind of lives within that space that it has yet to be discovered. But just to make that shorter, it's just exciting to see that what you create on Figma can be, used on different ways. Um, yeah, you're not like limited to like a mobile or like desktop device.
Mm.
Yeah, and super quick, Marlon's comment on your first design supposed to be ugly. I 100% agree. Yeah, it's not supposed to be perfect, and just practice makes
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. I look back to that one and I'm like, ugh. Or like even like a first client website that I did, I look back at it and I'm like, yeah, like definitely could be better. But
Mhm.
in terms of like accessibility, I think when you're first starting with design, you're learning just how to do it, right? Like how to use Figma, like how to create something, how to make it like it's like there's a lot of focus on like usability and like the visual design, but there's
Mhm.
less of an emphasis on accessibility. And I think once you're like, you start designing and knowing how to design, it's like now you can kind of focus on those like subparts, which accessibility shouldn't be like a kind of like a thing you learn after, but it just naturally kind of happens. So
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah. Someone say the first one is supposed to be ugly. Gotta put the reps
Yeah.
in the gym. Okay, I do agree
Yeah.
with that. Yeah. But I feel like a lot of
Yeah,
people
you do.
struggle with like perfectionism and they don't really get started. So I think that's where the problem comes in. So learn to be okay with like, making ugly stuff. And eventually I feel like that's where your starting point is and you can actually improve from there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Question 3. Oh my God. I don't know if you guys answered this before. Okay, maybe not. But question 3 is how did you guys like go on your Figma warrior journey? Like how did you improve your Figma
Takes more.
skill?
I think it's going back to what Marvin said, right? Because it's like you got to put the reps in. Like you can't build muscle unless you're like going to the gym and like working out.
Mm.
So it's just like repetition. Like every single project that you work on, it just helps you get better. Whether that's how you approach your design process, and every project is so different. Like I would say that my project here with Ion was very different than what I've seen before,
Mm.
um, and I think, yeah, it's just a matter of kind of trying it, like going, like create, starting a new project, and then you're gonna learn from that project in some way. On maybe it's like now this project requires you to do a little bit more prototyping, like animations with Figma, and then that kind of helps you gain more experience. Or maybe there's I don't know, like a different component, like a new UI component that you've never created before that now you kind of have to like figure out how to do that. So you you have to like look up YouTube videos, or it's like, oh, I have to create a design system like library. How do you do that using all like the different capabilities of Figma? So every depending on like what that project requires of you is kind of what you'll also learn as you're going about that project, right?
Yeah.
No, for sure. I think to plus one off of that, when I first started out, I really wanted to. I didn't know where to start. I was like, I want to be able to design like a website, but like I don't know like how to like make it good or like do it right. I want to. So I really utilized YouTube and just looked up like a bunch of different like how to literally like what are the core components of a website, like header, um, paragraph, call to
Mm.
action, stuff like that. I really utilized YouTube a lot to see like what is, for me as a person, I like to do things right, but you know, for like design, there's no straight line, like there's no like direct path. You just kind of play around and see what you can do. I really utilized YouTube, and the main thing that like really improved my skills was feedback. I would like, talk to my friends. I would reach out to mentors, my professors, even friends and family. Like, and I would get torn to shreds. They'd be like, what is that? I don't even know what that's trying to say. I'm confused here. And, it hurts. You're like, okay, wait, I spent so much time on this. Why am I getting such, like, why do people not like this? But that's kind of what UX design is about, right? We're all about enhancing the user experience and making the experience very simple. And so I think the biggest thing for me was feedback, really asking just what do you think about this design? What is it like? What do you see, or what do you think this website is doing, or what's its purpose? And I think that really helped improve my Figma skills, along with mood boarding and looking for inspiration. So using tools like Dribble, Mobbin, even Pinterest, just to look up a plant website. What does that look like? Just to get inspiration and to look at what I could possibly do and make it use that, but make it my own. Because I feel like that really helped for me when trying to improve my skills and looking at different people's portfolio work and seeing their process of how they got from their first wireframe to their final hi-fi.
Yeah.
And so just seeing all of that and just continuously trying to improve, and what really helped me too was taking screenshots of really high quality designs that I thought were really high quality, and retracing it on Figma, and trying to make sure okay, how does this work? And that really helps with spacing within type, and how big the buttons are, and what weight is in the font and stuff like that. It really helped me a lot. It was honestly very annoying because I just wanted to just get right into it, but if I didn't do that, it would not have taught me so much about spacing, placement, sizing of stuff. It taught me so much. It's really there's a phrase it's, I can't think of the phrase, but trust me, it's hard because I don't have a lot of patience, but doing that really helped a lot within my skills in Figma and just design in general.
Yeah, there was also a specific time when, even for my boot camp, where one of the actual assignments was recreating an existing site to basically learn how to just even get started with Figma. So yeah, and when I started my boot camp, auto layout wasn't even a thing, as a feature with Figma. So it was I remember I had a design mentor at that point, and she showed me how she would go about the spacing, and people would create little rectangles to determine okay, this is how much spacing is between headers and paragraphs, and that was before auto layout. And so auto layout has definitely saved a lot of time, makes everything more efficient.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I think we should move quick. I feel like I have more questions than the time we can answer for this. Let's just skim through, and we're gonna stay on the questions that we really want to answer. Favorite first design, solo versus team, take on organizing Figma file. Okay, let's repeat it. Okay, we have a little bit left, but I would say, what's your favorite or first design project that you did? And you can literally walk us through your projects on the spot. So yeah, we can combine this question and I think the 8th question together.
Yeah, I think I can go first.
Okay.
Do you have my passion project?
You want to show the mood tracker journal first, or?
Yeah, the mood tracker journal. Yeah.
Okay. Let's pray to God that it's actually show up. Okay, yeah, it did. Okay.
Cool. Yeah,
cool.
let me just.
Is it popping up? Okay, cool. Okay, I'll follow your mouse cursor if you're in the workspace.
Yeah, so just some background on this project. This is a passion project that I was able to do, and I started when I first transitioned, and it's still ongoing because I, have work and personal life. So just kind of doing tidbits on how I could best improve it. So it's been quite some time, but I want to say in total of amount of hours that I've worked on it, or months, I want to say 4 to 5, and I'm very close to wrapping it up and kind of seeing if I could be able to actually implement it and be able to put it on the App Store. So very, very exciting. I think starting out, if you can open up the panel on the left, there you go. Seeing all of my different
Am I opening it or no? This?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Seeing all of my pages here on the right, like high fidelity prototype 1, 2, 3, 4, like just shows all of my iterations that I went through within like user testing and feedback from my like design professors and peers. I really went through a lot of like trial and error and seeing what worked, and I think I'm a very organized person, and I was the only one that worked on this. And I'm very type A, so I like things, in a structured order. And I like to see my mess as an organized mess. I It's a bit scattered, but I know where everything's at, and I have it in a specific place that works for me. And I'm pretty sure that relates to a lot of different people. And so within my actual high fidelity prototype, I liked having specific sections of like, landing page, login, register pages, and the actual main navigation pages of the actual application. And so just kind of going in, I really liked having different notes of like what I was working on. So like within this homepage, I was like, intent for the app could be more customization options, add-on prompts, just kind of working on the spot to like see what I could do different. And so yeah, walking through this was my very first project, and the amount of research I did was a bit too extensive in my opinion, but also really helped for how to structure this. So let me navigate to my low fidelity first. As you can see here, completely different. I first started out with a scale from 1 to 10 to see how they're feeling, along with a daily quote and the journal there, like a widget, just being able for the user to then add in what they feel, and just like a very simple navigation. But like seeing like this of like the customization options in within the setting, this dark mode toggle and the profile, like just at the time I was a very baby designer and didn't really know like best practices, but like Marwin said, you got to just keep practicing, putting in the reps like the gym. um, this was my then second iteration of like trying out a week system within the homepage, and then a view journals page, daily quote, and just a bunch of different types of trying out what would work. And so I think I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in total, and just seeing what worked, and seeing I'm a person that likes to name my layers as well. It's just the type A person that I am. And so seeing within this mid fidelity, I then chose the emojis because based on my research, I found that the users were more intrigued by the emojis instead of the scale from 1 to 10. And just seeing the journals page first, here there's no calendar, it's just the journal entries. And I then here had the plus button, because what if the user does not want to choose a mood and just wants to write in an entry? Stuff like that, all those edge cases I really loved. And just being able to see, all the different types of iterations here for login and register, and this note of like, I was going to try to do like a more like personalized register to kind of understand the user and like what their style is, their font. And then I thought of, here cutting these because it will lower rates of users staying in the app. And just how many different iterations, like this was my first high fidelity iterations, like contrast is horrible, type is off, spacing bad, but getting to my high fidelity here where it's a more simpler and cleaner look. Still not done yet, so far from being done, but like seeing and going through that process of multiple iterations and user testing, seeing what works and what doesn't work. And yeah, I think within all of that, I could talk all day about this project, so I think I'll hand it off to Esther. But I think my main takeaway here from this project was really just continuing the iteration and seeing what worked and what didn't work, and continuously testing with users. Like user feedback, it's hard sometimes because they might tell you what they think you might want to hear. But I try to emphasize very highly within my user testing that like, if there is something that is bugging you or that you don't like please tell me. Like I need to know, because this was a very B2C project. And so I wanted to get the user's main insight and see what worked for them and what didn't. And so, yeah, that's just a bit of a small overview, and just to show you that I am not all the time organized. This was my playground, playing with multiple iterations of the homepage, seeing what worked and what didn't. Um, so, life of a designer, I'm going to say it, is messy, and most of the time. And seeing all of the emoji icon design for it, all the iterations for it. I think I have some more. I just don't know where they're at. But but yeah, like look at this. This is so messy. Like what is this? So it's like, just completely just trying out different ideas and making a mock-up screens for the phones, for your portfolio and stuff like that. So I've talked enough. So I'll hand it off to Esther to show hers.
Hey, I see.
Hello. I can actually share my screen.
Do you want to? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do Ion.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Bro, phenomenal project, Santiago. Is it, would
Yeah.
you say this is like did you spend a lot of time reorganizing the files after you finished the project, or has it always been a structure that you follow through?
Yeah, for me, it's always been a structure. I feel like without structure, I can't work. And
Ah,
so, but besides the playground, obviously, the playground is just do whatever, But
yeah,
like within my actual like prototypes, I need structure. That way, I know where everything's at, and I, if not, then it's very hard for me to focus and know what the next task is to complete.
yeah. And I would say what I feel like for organizing, it's definitely easier for like a solo project to be more organized than say a team project where everyone's just literally working on anything. So I think this time, let me remove my screen, and then we're gonna
Okay.
look at how a team project actually get organized. So, okay.
So I will kick it off by just highlighting what's about Santiago said. Santiago, you mentioned that the life of a designer is messy, and I will 100% say that that is true. And going off of what Min said, when you are working on a project with multiple people who are um, basically touching the same feature, I think that sort also can kind of get a bit messy in a good way too, because I think if you guys are working on the same thing, you can kind of see how people think of solving a specific problem and their process to getting to that solution. I've been like fortunate enough to, even in my boot camp and even with like co-create and working, I got to work with 5 other designers. I was fortunate enough to see how everyone's minds worked, and I have definitely taken into account how they've gotten to solution and try to apply it into my workflow. But going back to like the Figma and what it looks like, so right now, we are in the process of cleaning up our file. So as you can see, there's a lot of iteration that has happened. We have like our final like UI narrative draft here, which is basically how are we planning on telling the overall story of everything that we've worked on. So for context, with Ion, we were fortunate enough to be able to work on 3 different things. So we have feature 1, 2, and 3. For the first 2 features, we divided up into groups of 3. Yeah, groups of 3. And then for the last feature, which is basically focused on like a kind of like an infinite canvas, we all had different ideas that we had ideated during a brainstorm session that myself and another team member of mine, whose name is Flo, had worked on together or had led. And since there were so many different ideas, we actually broke up into subgroups again. So there were teams of 3 tackling 2 different parts, and that's where this like final narrative kind of draft comes in. It started off pretty clean, and our mentor Johnny has done a really good job at trying to keep us all aligned. But again, as designers, we all kind of think differently, and we all work so differently. Sorry, my laptop is now crashing. Maybe, oh, there you go. So here you'll see this. So
Hey, oh my God. This looks
can you
crazy,
see it?
y'all.
Yeah, I know. So the template here, this is what our mentor and then also Flo had created for us. But as you can see, like as we started talking about it, things start morphing and growing and like turning
Mm,
into something larger than we kind of anticipated. But this page is specifically just helping us like tie in everything that we've worked on. So all of the different features, how are we going to tell the final story, and how are we going to hand this off to our to Ion, right, the founder, who we actually are meeting with tomorrow. But down here onto the we've had different sections. So we did get the chance to meet with our client weekly. I also had the opportunity of going into the office once a week as well. And we had a specific section where we would drop in all of the different files that we'd be, or the designs that we wanted to share with the founder. And before that, we also had team meetings. So we had team meetings on Monday, Wednesday, and then Thursday was like our client meeting. And that all those team meetings basically helped us just kind of frame or decide what we wanted to share with the client. And then down here, we have more of our like library documentation. And this is where our component systems lives. So for context, we had different leads for each part of the design phase. So we had we had 2 research leads, we had 2 ideation leads, 2 visual design and usability testing leads, and then we also had storytelling leads. So the storytelling leads are the ones who are basically kind of deciding what our case study like outline would look like, and just so that we can like tell the story. But this
Esther,
is
are
what
you
our
showing anything? Okay, now I see
oh
something.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah
It
uh,
was freezing a little bit.
Sorry, yeah, it's pretty much lagging over here. Man, if you want, you can actually, I'm not sure if you can join the file and then maybe you can follow me. Maybe that'll be better, but
Yeah, let's see. But I
here,
think right now, if you're sharing screen, let's just keep going. Yeah. Let me
okay,
try.
okay, yeah, let's do that. So this right here is our design system file that our team has come up with. We've divided it up based off like the different features that we're creating. We're still working on our final like design systems output for our 3rd feature, but feature 1 was basically a properties panel, and then feature 2 is a layers panel. So adding that into Ion so that users can more easily select elements on the canvas and then make more granular edits from the designs that Ion pushes out. So you can kind of see this is like our final output here. But you know, again, it's pretty messy. Like we've had a lot of different like to get to the final stage, as we know, things take some time. But I did want to kind of show you guys what the intention is. So now that we're at the final, at the end of it, I would honestly recommend here, let's see. Min, can you still hear me? I think my Wi-Fi is a little. Yeah.
I can hear you, and right now I'm sharing screen. Just so
Oh,
you know.
perfect. I'll stop sharing my screen because
Yeah.
I think it's lagging at this point. But so now I'm on the tipping project, and not sure if you wanted to open that one up.
Oh, okay.
It's the second link.
Let me show that one. Wait, is
Yeah,
it Clara or the second link?
it's the second link.
Okay. It should
Yeah.
be loading now. Yes, is running.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Let's go.
yeah, you can see Min, actually, would you mind actually showing them the pages panel?
The page.
Um,
Oh, right here.
yeah, so so ideally this is kind of what we want to get to. So if you can see here that we
Oh my
have
God.
oh
Okay, one more
yeah.
time. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So it basically this is how I would recommend that, you know, everyone outline their Figma. Um like as a final output. So here you can see that there's like a portfolio like presentation, like a final presentation being listed. Anything that's final should, you know, live at the top. And then below that, if you scroll down a little bit to latest design min.
Oh, I thought, okay.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, it's because it's not, it won't let me show the.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay. Latest
So
design.
that's, yeah. So here you have like, you know, what the full experience could look like. So Min, if you click into phase 1, full experience, the third
These ones?
option to, here, let me.
Oh, phase 1.
It's,
okay. Yes.
yeah.
Bro, this is
So
crazy
that,
organization. Okay.
yeah, I think I definitely learned it just because of like being there myself. But here you can kind of see all of how the phases are being divided, right? Because this is what I used to hand off my designs to engineering. So detailing very closely, like this is what phase 1 would look like. Then we have like phase 2. Yeah, so here, you know, being very granular about everything. Here's like phase 1, here like just suggestions on how it should look, a decision tree, so like the if and then. So there was a point in my project where I got to work on a spreadsheet that I handed off to engineering, basically sharing like what happens if I click here, you know, etc. But yeah, so this is basically how I would, you know, go about organizing it. Min, if you open up the pages section again, you can just like you can see that there are, you know, there's a prototype, user flow, like exploration. So this is where all the explorations were listed, all the usability, like if you scroll down, user testing. And then also, if you keep scrolling, there's like a post user test section and like usability testing.
Wow.
So there's a lot here, but just trying to organize it by like section or like phase and then the version, right? But yeah.
Oh my God. How long did it take you to organize something like this?
The cool thing is that they had like at least they had like a general structure, but I think as I went along, I made sure to keep it organized. But this is because I was the only one working on this project, right? But I think once you work with multiple people at once, it does get difficult because there are multiple hands touching your Figma file. Or I mean, it's everyone's Figma file at that point. So it does get a little bit more difficult to keep things organized. But yeah, just general rule of thumb, like I would say just structure it by like the design phase and then keep everything within that phase and like make sure to outline the version. Yeah.
So is this like a workspace or is this a handoff file? Because I think someone in the chat was saying like, can you zoom in a little bit? I want to see the handoff. So what exactly is the part where you communicate with, say, an engineer who actually shipping your products?
Yeah, so that is actually here, let me see.
Should I just like hide the page panel so you can see the content a bit?
Oh yeah, you can hide it now, yeah.
You can zoom in a little bit. I feel like people
let me zoom in. I just wanted to find this section. Here, let me see if I have phase 1, full experience, deprecated. Let's see, overview. Yeah, I think that should be it. Okay. So this was the handoff doc. So here I wanted to just over communicate like the decision tree again. So because there's like dynamic pricing. So what that means is that when you were on the checkout page, the recommended tip amount that showed was based off the order subtotal. So the engineer needed to know what the requirements were. So in this case, this is like the decision tree for that, right? So if the order subtotal is less than 50, this is what happens. Same thing here. This is what happens. This is what happens. So that they can take into account that consideration when they're coding it out. And this is what I mean here. So here, you know, we have different like totals, but those totals would adjust based on, or like the tip amounts would adjust based on the order total. And then down here, let's see. So here I also mentioned, here. Oh, got it. So here I mentioned like this is the like current experience, and then this is what it needs to be replaced with. And then I also mentioned all the different like spec changes, right? So
Oh,
add this, add a divider, like very granular work, but something that I needed to like over communicate to our developers. Because funny enough, even though I was only touching the tip portion of the project, it actually involved 3 different product teams. So
wow.
I needed to make sure that every single product team was aware of all the different changes.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
and
so
then let me
plus one off
see.
of that. I know my peers who are working in the industry right now who are developers, like they love when the designers go super in depth because there are so many different edge cases that happen
Yeah.
within actually being able to implement it. So for the designers to catch it and being able to just like design the output of like the error messages of like what if the user clicks this or like misinputs something, just like all those edge cases are super super helpful. But just wanted to let you guys know that.
Yeah. And then that's, for example, even here, oh, I think we're at time, but yeah.
Oh, keep going. One last sentence. I
Oh,
already
yeah.
said the
Okay.
portfolio team to like join a bit later. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So here, for example, like I even detailed the flow, right? So here I mentioned user clicks this, then this pops up. I mentioned specifics about it, what happens when the user clicks got it, like, and just showing like it would take them back to the checkout page. Here, if they click like, if they click other, it opens up this page, right? This page, this is the flow, and then just showing them like what that flow looks like over here, being again super specific about everything. Like
Mm.
once the user does types in a number which can be greater than or equal to 0, then this happens.
I
Just
see.
letting them know specifics of
Mm.
every time the user does X thing, this is what's going to happen as a result of that user action. Um,
Mm. Someone in the
yeah.
chat asked that how do you describe the components to the engineer when going back and forth in dev mode? Was this project created like when we have dev mode already?
When I had no, it wasn't. I actually
Oh,
so this was before I think dev mode or before like the annotations options.
mm-mm.
But if I did have that option, I would probably use annotations. And said you created a lot of components for a page. How do you describe the components to an engineer
Yeah.
when going back and forth? I kind of need clarification on that one.
I think he means like the different like states of like buttons if it's like disabled, enabled, and stuff like that.
Yeah, this
That's
is
different.
state. So,
oh,
uh,
I think I
did you annotate it like manually, or was it more like did you guys have some other form of communication? Like, say, people use linear for like design updates, but like, how do you guys communicate that to engineering? I would say.
so for some of these, they were already like these are existing components, right? So I had to work off of their existing design system. The thing that changed was like these are the new things that I integrated. So something like this. And then also like this page and this input field was also a new component. So how I communicated that was first I actually went to our design systems team, who was a team of one, and I
Oh,
like ran it by them to see if it's a component that we could include in the design because it needs to align with like design system standards. And it was agreed upon. So from there, during the meetings with like the product teams, so like we had the engineers there, product managers. I walked them through the prototype. I highlighted what the new components would be and what the interaction would be. I don't know where I have I wonder if I have but basically just showing them like this is what it looks like when someone is, um, inputting a tip amount. This is what it looks like when it's inactive. But I would highlight that during the handoff meetings or like even just throughout the project when I had like conversations with the product team, I would share with them uh, the different interactions, and then if they had questions about it, I would make note of what those questions were, and that's where I added those. That's why I added like a lot of annotations because they were
yeah,
based off like answering those questions. Yeah.
I see. Would you guys say like def mode and just like the annotation feature helps a lot in like, the handoff process and just organizing files in general?
Yes, 100%.
Very brief. Yeah. Oh my God. I think we're at time right now, but honestly, next time it's gonna be my worker AI if you get feature. Um,
Say
Oh,
less.
okay, okay.
let me
Yeah.
see. Okay, I don't think we're like, I feel like these questions might have been answered as we go through the
Yeah.
files already.
Yeah.
But okay, last questions before we end the stream. Any tips and resources to get cracked at Figma like you guys? Because apparently I can vouch that Santiago and Esther are one of the crackest member designers in our cohort 20. I feel like you guys take charge as like very leadership position, right? Within the cohort and basically manage the, how people coordinate design together as a team. So offering some tips, y'all.
Yeah, I think a really good resource that Figma actually has on their YouTube. They have a lot of Figma for Education videos that helps people with like prototyping, tokens, variables, a bunch of
Yeah.
different topics. I remember when I first started out, that was really helpful for me, and it got me really, really cracked. And I think also just YouTube, just like looking up how to make a carousel or like how to prototype a like, just like look up whatever, and you could probably do it on Figma. Like that's how powerful Figma is.
Mm,
And I think the thing that honestly really got me cracked was just trying out so many different things, like seeing what was capable or like what the possibilities were in Figma. And honestly, the sky is the limit. Just trying so many different things out and just looking for inspiration on YouTube or even Instagram, Pinterest, stuff like that. It got me super, super into it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, basically everything that Santiago said, but I think aside from that, like if you are working on a project, just like take some time to like learn from others. I personally don't think I would have gotten to the point that I've gotten to this project without the rest of my team. Like I think everyone has like worked really hard to um just like basically I would say like I was gonna say tackle, but attack each part of the design phase because it really is like it's there's a lot, and I think some of us are working full time, and then we're doing this internship as well. So it's always nice to have team members that you can kind of like lean on, and that's why I say that it's important to aside from YouTube and like different tutorials and such, maybe you can join a hackathon, or if you're doing a project, like just take time to like absorb the way that people work, and learn how they do things. I have someone on my team. His name is Santiago. Sorry. See, now I'm mixing you guys up. Sebastian. His name is Sebastian. First I was saying Sebastian. Now I'm saying Santiago. Sebastian. He's a really good prototyper. And like yesterday, for example, there was something that I was like, oh, I'm not really sure how to do this, and he knows how to do it. So there's like an opportunity to learn from him and figure
mm,
out how he can like create a certain interaction, like animation, right? So I think everyone on your team has something to offer, and knowing that is really important so that you can kind of take like a student, you can be like the student in a sense, when you're working on a project.
I see. Yeah. Honestly, plus one on like the Figma education resources. I feel like
Yeah.
I got to a point where I don't know how to do like my portfolio anymore. So I just like leech off, watch like eating my dinner and watching like Figma education series, and it helps so much. So yeah.
No, I
But
can.
like, yeah, how do you guys kind of like not stay in tutorial lands but actually do it?
I think for me, I just kind of play around until I get lost, and I'm kind of like, okay, I actually don't know how to do this at all, and I'm completely lost. And I like for each person is different, obviously, but I really love YouTube, and I learn better by watching a video rather than reading. And I think for design, that is like the better case as well, and that makes the most sense if you're watching a video and like having somebody walk you through how to do it. Like for example, I was playing around with my portfolio and like seeing if I wanted a gradient background. And I had no idea how to do it in Framer. And so I was like, okay, how to add gradient background in Framer. And it was like a 5-minute video. He walked me through it, and I was able to do it. I figured out I actually didn't like the gradient background at all. So I was like, well, but at least I like was that like chance of getting to learn how to do that. That way, like if I want to do that like later within my newer versions of my portfolio, well then I can, you know. And so I think you know, there's so much you still have to learn within design. Like it's never ending, you know. It's you always get to learn stuff. So as like whenever you get the chance to learn something new, like take it because it's gonna help you
Yeah.
whether if you know it or not.
Mm. Someone left a question. They said, "Do you create a screen for?" I also want to understand. Do you set up the design system first, or do you create a screen and then build components based on its needs? Yeah, you won't really know what components you need unless you have like a general idea of the design, unless you're working off an existing like design system for a company that you're working with. But if it's like a net new like product, you know, it's like 0 to 1 essentially. You're really caught between, you know, I would again like you source from like the Figma documentation that like exists like for everyone to publicly use. Grab wireframes from that, and then once you have an official like design set, like you're like, all right, this isn't going to change, then I would actually go in and like create your design system. Well, I would call it a component library or pattern library because a design system is much more fleshed out than just having like the components laid out or patterns. Like a design system would essentially include like everything, all the different standards like accessibility, truncation rules, a lot of like heavy documentation that your teams could refer to. But yeah, I would not create a component library design or like a pattern library unless you have like all the final UI set, because then what will happen is you'll actually go back to like re-editing those later on. But I'm not sure, Santiago, if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think to go off of that, I think each person is different, and I think the only way you'll really find out is you try one. Like if you want to make the design system first, take a stab at it, and if that works for you and it makes your more like your ideation more like what's the word, productive, then that's how you know it works. But if like for me personally, I can't really design buttons unless like I've designed the screen first, and then I'm like, okay, how big is this button gonna look, and like the placement and stuff like that, and like plus on what you said, Esther, of like you might have to go and like do a bunch of different changes too. I did that with my personal project too a lot, and I found that for me it's a lot easier to design the screen first and just like start with lo-fi's like sketches even, and like see okay like oh I like this direction, let's do that, and then going into Figma. That helped me a lot. But again, each person is completely different. I know a friend that actually likes to design the components first. So each person's different, and so just kind of seeing what works best for you, and then going with that.
Hey, okay. W. Okay, cool. Honestly, I think that's conclude our AMA for today. And honestly, guys, I learned a lot from how you guys work. I feel like I'm so disorganized comparing to you guys. And like I don't have a real experience kind of work in a very high functioning and engineering heavy team. So the handoff process is a bit murky for me. But today is eye-opening for sure. Yeah.
It's
Um,
okay because the life of a designer is messy. So
Yeah.
you can explain that line. I think we discussed this before we went live, but designer life is actually messy. And AW in the chat. That's good. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. So I think we're gonna end the stream right here. But thank you everyone for chiming in and listen to us yapping a lot about design and Figma. Hopefully, the organization that we created and tips in organizing files a lot more effectively helps you guys in your own process of like building your own projects and see how actual design team work together to build something. And bottom line, it's very messy still. Honestly, these works, even though we say you have to organize it, make it look visually well, it takes a long time to actually organize it. And sometimes like handoff might not look as pretty as we want it to. But yeah, it's always like the time you take extra to actually work on it. It's benefit in the long run, but
Yeah.
just
And
saying.
that's okay. It's okay if it's messy. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. designers. We can lose ourselves in a way. Yeah. Do you guys have a designer hot take to conclude the session?
A
Hot take?
designer hot take.
Yeah.
I um I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think what's really cool is like as a designer, we do have the ability to like make something come to life. So don't ever feel limited by the fact that you don't have a developer, or I feel like there are a lot of different tools now that really like bridge the gap between like the design and like releasing something to the market. So if you are have this like inclinate or like this inclination to maybe even be a founder and you're like, I'm a designer, I don't know how to code, like don't let that limit you, because we can see now that things are, the possibilities are out there. So yeah, not sure that's a hot take, but it's just like a general kind of thought that's even been something that I've been thinking about lately.
I feel like that's a fruitful thought, I would say, because it's a possibility. But say like hot take in my end is like, let's stop archiving every single thing. So something
Yes.
like that. My files tend to get really heavy as I like archive a lot, but then end up I don't use all of them. So I'm like, am I wasting pixels here just so I can, FOMO, yeah. So that's
Yeah,
what
you know what? Rely on version history for Figma, because I even myself, I'm like, oh,
Yes.
I have a page for version 1, 2, 3, and it's like, you have version history, right? Like
right,
on Figma, right?
yeah,
So that also helps with what you're saying, Min, where it's like your file will stop lagging if you just use version
yes,
history on Figma.
exactly.
So that's my hot take. Use version history.
Okay. Santiago, any last hot take you have?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a hot take, but I think for me personally, like I've seen a lot of designers not create user flows before designing wireframes. And I get like for the initial like stage wireframe, like that's fine, you're just like ideating, you're doing whatever. But when it comes to like the mid-fi and like the high-fi prototypes and like they haven't designed a user flow and they're just designing screens. And I think just for me personally, with my developer background, I need a user flow because I'm like, how do these screens go together? I'm like, I need to know like
Yeah.
the end to end process and all the edge cases. I think it's just a developer mindset in me, but I think like a lot of people don't like to do the user flow first, and I'm like, no, it's almost crucial because then it helps of like thinking of like, oh, like we forgot about this, and like, oh wait, but like this might happen as well, or like we should do this instead. It really helps the design thinking process really come to life in that. So I'm not sure if that's a hot take or not, but just wanted to
Rio,
air
you
that
guys
out.
hot take sounds not so spicy. It's okay. Yeah.
I guess there's no sass over here.
Yeah, I feel like all the sass has gone a little bit. It's fine. It's going to the product, sass itself.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm gonna end the live now. We're gonna head to like the portfolio roast session, but thank you everyone for chiming in, and we'll see you next week.
Alrighty. Bye bye.
See you
Yeah.
guys.